East-West All-Stars, Coach Phil Weaver with us. Coach, the All-Star games are coming up starting next week. Again, you're ready for it again. So what's the big schedule look like today, getting things in? This is Friday. I guess the coaches are coming in, meeting people now, getting all the guys on it. The players are coming in soon. It's just all coming together in one big, fast, serious pace. This is probably wide open right now for you.
Coaches come in tomorrow morning, Southwest. Kids will come in later that morning. And, of course, they'll have their first practice that day. So basketball is underway, 24 hours from now. And then Sunday afternoon, soccer coaches will come in. And then later that afternoon, the soccer players come in. And we've cut out their practice on Sunday. Seems like soccer is something that you tell them to go run a 4.42. They all know what you're talking about. You don't really need the time to prepare like you would in, say, football, where we got to have all those days. But yeah, and then we got the banquet Sunday night, and Monday night at the Coliseum's Novant Health Field House. We got the basketball game starting at 6:30, and the next night at Grimsley, the soccer matches start at 6:30 then also.
So weird thing to me, I was thinking about today and yesterday. I said, gosh, remember the basketball? I'm getting ready to go to a basketball game. I always remember parking in the parking lot at the Coliseum and going through the elephant doors. And I'm thinking, won't go through the elephant doors anymore because the Novant Fieldhouse now for the basketball. We made the change of venue. I guess it was last year the first year?
Yes.
So they made the change of venue. How did it go last year, and how do you feel like being in a new facility there?
Other than one of their two cooling elements going out, it was really successful. I think the crowd liked the intimacy. You know, we put our 3,000 or 4,000 people in the main arena, and it doesn't look like anybody's there. But we came close to a sellout last year, and you know, it makes a lot more excitement when people are yelling that close to the game. So I think the players, I didn't hear any complaints about not being in the arena, and certainly saved us some money.
That's a good thing, too. Always a good thing when you're in a business like this, because it's a business. And
we lose enough already.
You want to play games, but you also run a business at the same time. And like you said, the intimacy of the crowd and the players. And when the head coach moved over there, I thought it was a good move for them, too, and they made that move. And I saw like a Greensboro Day School call an academy game there last year, a couple years back, and it also had the same feeling. And that building's very well accommodating then.
Mm-hmm. Well, it renovated for basketball, so. And, of course, the Coliseum crew is so great to work with. They get everything ready for you. And Reid and I have already been over there planning, and it's just a great bunch to work with.
It'd be a fun thing just to have, maybe it's a fun thing already, but it'd be kind of interesting thing just to do the games. You're not only doing the games, you're doing a coaches clinic going on too, right? Clinic going on also?
Little one. We probably have 7,500 to 8,000 coaches in town for 3 days, over 3 days. We just had a talked to the CVB this morning, and the impact of this week plus the December football game is about $10 million.
Wow.
And as of 2 or 3 years ago when we did that, the men's ACC, of course, brought in more money, and the Wyndham, and we brought in more than the women's ACC tournament money to this area.
Right.
I don't think many people appreciate how much financial contributions our coaches do make to the community.
Yeah, when you're top in the ACC women's basketball tournament, we know the success they've had. That says quite a bit right there in itself.
We were third, I think.
Yeah,
and you know, I don't know, they may have had a swimming event now that's brought in more. That they've done such a great job with that aquatic center, but we're still very much important to this community. And
your people all over town too, going to the restaurants, the hotels, and different venues and places around town, just really checking out the city and the coaches. It's almost like a reunion for a lot of coaches. You probably, I don't know if you do this in particular, you and Reid, though, there's probably a couple of coaches you probably remember seeing every year just at this convention, I imagine.
Absolutely. We also have a old timers luncheon.
Oh yeah.
Which you ought to go to that. You'd know a lot of it.
Yeah.
There's 30, 40 guys in there, and some of them are older than I am, and they come back every year to tell stories and make the stories better every year probably.
Yeah, I remember Coach Bill Slate when he was alive. That was always one of his favorite things. He had that old timers luncheon. He used to love to see all the coaches from different places.
Little known, Bill used to come in every year and bring us something.
Yep.
Just out of the goodness of his heart.
Come out of coach's office?
Yeah, just come in here and give Mac and me something. And then added Joe in, and yeah, he was a fine fella.
Yeah, it was a coach from South Caldwell he knew pretty well, and it would always be at the vet convention and clinic and stuff like that. I was trying to run into him over the years and meet him and talk to him some. And I'm sure you got coaches across the state, like you say, that come in every year and attend this. Who are some of the featured speakers this year? Anybody we can pop off of names?
You know them?
The two baseball speakers are going to be Cody Ellis from UNCG and Jim Chester from Gardner-Webb. Joe has, I think, a full list of the clinicians that are coming in.
Yeah, if you want to take a break, we can get you a list.
But I know that from a football perspective, the Virginia Tech staff is going to be in.
Not bad at all.
And that's one big thing that we're excited about, is that the Division I football coaches are coming back to our clinic. Even though they might not be speaking, there's going to be a lot of them in the common area, schmoozing, if you will, with our coaches that are there. So that's something that we're real excited about.
Yeah, I remember back in the day, you'd have like maybe a Lou Holtz staff before he even got big, and you'd have other coaches' staffs that come in, and you not only get the head coach, you get the assistant coaches, and sometimes those assistant coaches are going to become head coaches and big names too. So a lot of even you used to get guys like from the University of Texas in here, places like that as well.
If you look at the people that have been here to speak, it's really a list of who's who. They've done a really good job. I mean, not a good job, but a great job over the years, getting the best people that they can to come here and speak to our coaches. That's for sure.
I'm even thinking, maybe I'm off record saying, I think maybe even Bobby Knight might have spoke here back in the day.
We've had Bobby Knight twice.
Was he with the Army when you had him the first time? Probably so, when he's up and coming.
I can't answer that. He's probably at Indiana already.
Lou Holtz.
Yeah. And a lot of the North Carolina football coaches back in the day. Pat Head Summit, back before she became Pat Summit. Yeah, exactly. That's before Tennessee women's basketball even got as big as they were later.
Gino from Connecticut, I believe, is being.
Of course, we had Krzyzewski and Roy Williams just 2 years ago.
Yeah, it took the cake right there.
If the further you go back, the bigger the names. Adolph Rupp, John Wood, and all those people. Just in every sport. Vic Shable, I mean, that's an old name. Football. Coach Jameson used to he'd wait till the national championship or whatever the bowls were done. Then he'd call the guy that he thought had the best team, see if they'd come.
Yeah.
And in basketball, he'd wait till the NCCA finals were over, and then he'd start calling and basically start at the top.
So you got the basketball coming up on Monday. The start time for the girls again, is that around
6:30?
Right. And any girls, local girls? I know we got one guy I know of at least locally. That would be Kenny Miller Jr. from Smith. Any other local girls that we know of off the top of your head?
In basketball?
Basketball girls?
I can't recall any Guilford County girls
right.
that are playing in the game, and obviously you just mentioned Kenny from Smith.
Mm-hmm.
But we're excited about the the players that are coming in, and I think there's going to be a lot of talented players on the court. A
lot of fringe players too, West Forsyth area, Forsyth County, Alamance County, Rockingham County. Probably got some Rockingham County girls maybe on that team possibly too, because they had a very good season this past year. And like I said, the Smith team well represented, won state championship, so Kenny Miller Jr. getting him in there is a good thing also.
Right.
We do have some Reidsville basketball players that are coming in, and just to touch base, you mentioned the banquet coach. Our speaker this year is Zach Haynes. Zach Haynes is a former Southwest Guilford standout who's a High Point University men's soccer coach now. And one thing we're excited is our speaker used to play in our game.
Yeah,
he was an East-West All-Stars back in the early 2000s. So excited about Zach Haynes speaking on Sunday evening.
It's kind of interesting transition too over the years. Say about this before I came over today too, about the fact back in the day, usually have, not always, but usually have like the players practicing at Grimsley and Page. Then you kind of made that transition towards Southwest Guilford, Western Guilford. So Coach Reid Holmes, what about that's your stomping grounds pretty much all the way around, Southwest and Western Guilford. What about them taking on the responsibility of hosting the teams for the practices now? How's that changed over the years?
Our site supervisor for football has been Brendan Chrisman over the years, and our site supervisor for basketball has been John Gann and Brendan Chrisman, and they've done a wonderful job with that. The good thing about having it at Southwest is we have 3 gyms, and when we used to have football practicing at the same time as basketball, certainly that came into play in regards to some weather that we might have had. So having 3 gyms is a luxury, that's for sure, and it's worked out really well.
Think about it too. I was thinking about always use name association. I think about Southwest. I think about you've had some very good basketball years. The Langley brothers, no doubt about those guys. And for soccer, I mean, back in the soccer days, Southwest had one of the best players ever played in the state, and he also played football. That'd be Eddie Pope. So you've had some good representation there over the years.
Absolutely. Guy Shavers, our head basketball coach, several years back had a terrific run there, and with the Langleys, and we were very fortunate. But Guy did a great job.
And you got a very good gym there too, the Jim Coggins Gym, well represented with that name also. And you go to Western Guilford, got the Bill Hollifield Gym. So if you're practicing Bill Hollifield Gym, you've got some pretty good rub going right there too.
Absolutely. Two legends, that's for sure.
And I guess from a soccer standpoint, Western Guilford, I think about probably, maybe not a player. I thought about that. I said, who's the guy? I said, George Kennedy. I mean, that guy put the soccer on the map over there, didn't he, George Kennedy?
Yeah, Coach Kennedy, he was there when I was in school. So, no Coach Kennedy, and no Coach Kennedy's, wife talked with my mom, and certainly Coach Kennedy's passed away, but what a phenomenal coach.
And I thought about basketball. I mean, I'm pulling one out of a hat, but I think the basketball game, he may have played in the All-Star game, maybe he did, but I think he may have. I think about going way back, Ray Coble. Remember Ray Coble's name?
I do. I know the name. He preceded me at Western Guilford a little bit. He was there in the 70s, and I graduated in 88, but I certainly used to see his name up in the rafters because he was an all-state player for sure.
Yeah. Coach Weaver, you remember all these names too, and about the names and about the changes over the years. I mean, the football's different now too. The football's not here. I was driving in today and getting out of the car today thinking, man, for those football players, I'm kind of glad it's in December now, the way this weather is right now.
Well, it depends on whether you like hot weather or cold weather. Yeah. Because we've had some really cold weather the last 2 years. But, the conditioning part of football we don't have to worry about anymore because they're coming off the season. The only real question is, have they sustained an injury, that might cause them not to be as effective playing and really shouldn't be in the game. But so far, they've been honest with us, and we haven't had a kid come up here that was hurt.
So this week coming in, that's always a big thing too, because I do getting the media releases you guys put out. Always the ones that drop off and the ones that add in. That's always a big change. You get those.
We've had we got a guy yesterday got COVID.
My Lord.
I got COVID.
Getting it kind of late, yeah.
Yeah, but he's so laid up.
Wow.
He said, I'm sorry, but I just can't come. I can't even get out of bed. Then we had an ACL for a girl earlier in the week, and stuff like that. You just hope your coaches have got a good list of alternates.
Yeah. But I'll tell you one thing, it's always good to grab kind of a local guy at the last minute. You bring a local guy in at the last minute, that guy sometimes may be the most excited player to play in those games of all, just to get that last minute chance.
I know Mac brought one of his kids in at the last minute and ended up being MVP of the game in basketball. So,
wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, sometimes that happens.
I think that occurred in our soccer game a few years back.
The goalie.
One of the alternates ended up being MVP of the game. Sure.
That's just 2 years ago.
Yes. Yeah.
And that's still some of the most interesting things of all. That soccer, girls soccer out at Bryan Park a couple years ago, the MVP of the game was actually the girl on the losing team, of all things.
I remember that.
Yeah, she had an outstanding game. And I kind of like the soccer now because it's going to be at Grimsley, right? It's Grimsley these days.
Yeah, the coaches have been complaining for many years that they didn't like having to go all the way out to Bryant Park. I guess they like to have a good, fun dinner and then be able to go somewhere after the game and celebrate or commiserate, whichever.
Right.
And so coming back here is good, and we can practice at Grimsley, and we don't have to worry about the field house football, that sort of thing. And it makes things a lot easier. So Southwest, Western, and Grimsley now, the three sites. But we don't want to dismiss what Northwest did there for a good number of years, hosting our soccer.
Jason Allred was our site person, athletic director at Northwest, and he was phenomenal for sure.
And they've got a pretty good set of fields out at Northwest too. They've got the regular football field / soccer field. They got the side field, the lower field, and in Grimsley you've got the regular practice field. I guess you could use the football field too if you need to on the side.
No, we're not going to let them on the field until game day just to get used to it, because it does have a crown on it, which is for soccer not ideal, but it's at least a full-size field. And while we're talking about people, we need to give Debbie Jones
certainly
credit from Ragsdale for bailing us out one year. We needed some supplies, and she was over here immediately with it. So.
Yeah, that's good too.
And Dudley last fall in football took us for practice because Grimsley was still in the playoffs, and
when Stephen was the head coach.
Yeah, the whole community has just been, the whole school community in Guilford County is very supportive.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned Debbie Jones too, because she just stepped aside. I guess it's a few weeks back. She's got her career complete. Well, what a good career it was when she coached Page girls basketball. I had no problems. I knew everything was going to be in order then.
Yeah,
she ran a good program. Good program.
She was fun to coach against, but in the sense that you knew they were going to be well prepared, but it wasn't fun as far as the score always.
Yeah, I'll tell you one thing also, I think we may tend to forget. I may be wrong, and I think she was a Southwest Guilford girl too back in the day. Maybe Debbie Jones back in the day.
That sounds right. I'm not exactly sure.
Yeah, she told me she lived right near the Ragsdale line with Southwest, and the family moved here, but she went to Southwest and she played college ball. Campbell, Pembroke, one of those schools down there, and did very well in college too. Yeah.
Well, she, Ragsdale being a rival of the school that I teach at, Southwest Guilford. Debbie was nothing but professional every time I had any interaction with her, and she'll certainly be missed. She did a wonderful job.
Yeah, she's a good AD.
But Ragsdale will be in good hands with Michael Holder. Don't
know him very well, but looking forward to working with him too. Yeah.
He'll do a good job at Ragsdale, that's for sure. But Debbie will be missed. She was great.
Tell you one thing about I don't think she played in the All-Star game, but boy, back when Debbie had the Hayco and had Paris Key, I mean, there was very little to
She played in the East of the North-South game we put on.
Got you, down in Wilmington, right? Or was Wilmington?
At the time, we were in Myrtle Beach, I think.
Yeah, so you moved around a little bit then. Yeah. She did play. That's because that girl could play some basketball.
She was good.
She was good about that time, no doubt about it.
And then we moved the game this coming year, March. We're going to be in. We're going to play in Fort Mill. We're going to be based in Rock Hill, but we're going to play in Fort Mill. So any North Carolinian that wants to get there is just right over the line.
Just hit 85, head down that way.
Going 77.
Yeah, exactly. Wow, good stuff. Now, so you got the soccer on Tuesday, basketball Monday. So you've got a pretty quick week coming up then. It moves pretty fast for you once you get moving here.
We're not like it used to when we had football on Wednesday.
Yeah.
Because football's organizational stuff takes 3 times what any other sport does at least. And without that, we get through Tuesday night. We get to actually relax a little on Wednesday and go over and
help the clinic staff.
Yeah.
I remember back in the day, so I always bring it up. We do this conversation, Coach Weaver. They had that one time only, when they played the football game on Friday because of that storm. Remember years and years and years ago?
Well, we had to move to Saturday the first winter we played rather than playing on Sunday.
Yeah, that was when we went to the winter. Exactly. Yeah, yeah. Had to move it up today because of the storm coming in. Is that what it was?
And then this year we got moved a week. Well, the state playoffs got moved a week back, which put them up against us, and we lost. The Mitchell kid from Grimsley, and lost a lot of good players across the state that would have been in the game. That might have been one heck of a game if we'd have had
could have had Mitchell Summers. That Grimsley, all that Grimsley crowd would have come in. Would have been something. Especially that.
That would have helped the crowd, I'm sure, because I'd love to have seen him again.
Yeah, I would too. I'd like to see him. If we find him and put him out there and run him a little bit today, because I always like to watch Mitchell Summers run. The beginning of the play would not always be the end of the play. The beginning of the play gets started. Once he got started, boom, he was gone when he got a field. He was out of town in a hurry.
Terrific high school career, that's for sure.
Yeah, and Grimsley had a lot of success. And so who's been, if you had to make a list of over the years of all the All-Stars, say, we just do all sports, maybe who was Page, Grimsley, what schools have kind of been the most represented over the years? I know you out of town, these schools too. I know back in Wilmington's days, Wilmington, Laney, and Hoggart, all those guys had a lot of players back in the days.
No, New Hanover. You go back because we're so old. I mean, 1949. There weren't but 8 4A schools in the whole state probably. So Grimsley, Raleigh, Broughton, New Hanover certainly probably have more people in the game than anybody else because you've had more years of opportunity to do it.
Right.
I mean, there was no Southwest. Right. There was no Page. Page has had a bunch of kids. Every local school's probably had a pretty good number. Dudley, certainly.
Yeah.
Because they started, I guess, Black School League began playing in 72 with the Does that sound about right?
Sounds a lot more recent, I would think. Yeah.
With the NCCA, when did they join?
Yeah, I'm not.
Well, I know you had Rocky Mount back in the day.
Rocky Mount, yeah, they've had a ton of kids.
Reps. Had one guy at Rocky Mount. He may have played. He was a pretty good guard back in the day. That kid out of Rocky Mount. I think his name was Ford. Was it Ford?
Ford.
Yeah, he probably played. Yeah. And David Thompson played, didn't he, or did he?
David Thompson was MVP.
You just talk about players representation. I mean, I might put him if he had like an all-time team on basketball. If he's not on that team, I'm probably shutting this off and walking out of here.
Chris Paul.
You take,
Paul.
he and Chris Paul and Pete Maravich wasn't bad.
James Worthy play?
No, that was the NCAA kept him and Jordan out of the game with that stupid rule that you could only play in 2 All-Star games. So they played in the Dapper Dan and the McDonald's.
Wow.
And then they couldn't play in ours. Dean would have had him here. I guarantee you that, because every Carolina kid that's ever been invited through Roy Williams came.
That's pretty darn good.
They made sure those kids played.
Yeah.
And I've always appreciated those 2 coaches for that. But they, of course, Roy was a high school coach in North Carolina.
Yeah,
so you'd expect him to help
yeah.
us. But, Dean had no real connection, but he always supported the games and the clinic.
So
of course, he spoke at the clinic.
Yeah, to have him speaking. Plus, again, that one piece you had a couple of years ago, you mentioned earlier about Krzyzewski and Williams, and they had that interview and speak. That was a while before that actually aired, but that was one of those few times something like that was worth the wait just to get to see it. That's probably worth the wait then.
I mean, I guess that's my crowning achievement in this office was pulling that off. But, yeah, I mean, I still watch it. I've got it on tape, and it's still on ESPN fairly frequently. But they were great, and I noticed they reprised that role for ESPN on something else. They did it again, but I bet it wasn't as good. It's just like,
who hosted that? West Durham? West Durham hosted that? Was it West?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's good stuff.
And of course, he was great with them.
He knew them both so well. Yeah.
And he knew the questions, and we went over questions with him because we were trying to gear their answers to how I could help a high school coach.
Sure.
We knew a lot of it wouldn't be, but I think Krzyzewski comment about we'd have great games if the referees didn't screw it up. That probably didn't help much, but it was funny.
Yeah, good humor for sure.
I want to do one now in football, or maybe Reid can pull that off someday.
Try to get a couple football coaches in.
Get a couple retired football coaches that everybody respected. Yeah.
Tell you one thing, you mentioned Dudley, Coach Stephen Davis. I guess he coached last fall in the game. Yeah, last winter. Yeah. But boy, talk about a guy that's been around a while. That guy's had some success now.
He really has. But he's had a fairly stable staff too.
Exactly.
And of course, Dudley's always been good in athletics. I mean, far back as you want to go.
Basketball-wise, they've had a lot of representation over the years, I'm sure.
When I coach, I didn't care what the sport was. You better be prepared to play Dudley, and you better be prepared to play Page. They were going to be good and everything.
Brendan Haywood, I played in the game, I would imagine, and Vincent Witt.
Yeah.
They've had their fair share for sure.
And of course, you didn't want to overlook Smith, because they would sneak up on anybody, even when they were supposedly down.
Yeah, that one stretch when you mentioned earlier a guy from Guilford College played at Guilford College, Reggie Peace, and Reggie Peace was coaching Smith. They had a very good run going in.
Yeah. Now, Andy, you can cut this part out, but you'll appreciate this. When we had that really good run of girls at the end of my career, we played Smith. It'd have to be their sophomore year, but Smith actually beat us. And I remember walking off the court, and there's this little girl for Smith sitting in the middle floor crying.
Wow.
Because she was so happy. And
did they actually beat her?
It sort of, I'm sort of feeling like, well, I'm sorry we lost, but, maybe there was some good out of it.
That level of success there says a lot right there, because I still remember those girls, most of them, Tremaine Lucas, Nicole Hargraves, and Fields, and all those girls. And Amber Cook. Man, all those girls were so. I loved Amber Cook the most, because to me, the point guard always did the most work. That's just me. I mean, they had the most responsibility. They had to distribute the ball, had to give up shots they'd normally take to make somebody else look better. They got to be good. They got to be good.
There's no one that didn't love Amber Cook that knew her. In fact, I saw a middle school game. She broke out in front, stole the ball, and this little girl that hadn't played all year hardly probably came running down the other side, and Amber slowed up and gave her the ball for a layup.
Wow.
And that's just the way Amber was. And her sister Brittany was a good kid too.
Another good kid you had too, I don't know if you coached or not, she may have come after you coaching, was Roxanne Newman. Remember Roxanne back in the day?
Roxanne was our leader and our glue. If she hadn't gotten her hand hurt, I'm convinced we'd have won the state championship in that last game, because she couldn't handle the ball, and she was always the steady one.
And one time she was working for the state.
She does. She runs the state games.
That's right.
Or
That's right.
does a lot with them.
Yeah.
She'll be at the exhibition hall.
Mm-hmm. And her father was. She came from some very tough pedigree, I would think. Her father. Yeah.
Your DA. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Speaking of Reggie Peace, he's our basketball.
He's been around forever behind the scenes. Reggie does not show it much, but you look around, he's there every time. Reggie's in Greensboro again. He may not be living here, but he's still in Greensboro.
Yeah, he's been in charge of our basketball game for a while now, and just does a great job.
Yeah, does a super job.
Does a great job, and very well organized, and we couldn't make it happen without Reggie Peace.
I had an interview with Reggie.
He's still in Lee County.
Yeah, Lee County. He came together. I did an interview down at McDonald's on MLK Boulevard back in the winter. I think we were doing. It was a basketball because had Hank Bullard, because Hank coached the Smith girls. He was, and Reggie coached the Smith boys. It was Smith's going for the state title, so brought in these former Smith coaches. About Smith, because Smith boys went for the title first time in about 30-some years, whatever. So I interviewed both those guys. Our connection spot was at McDonald's on MLK Boulevard. Did the interview on a Friday, and then we played the game, I guess.
Well, my way.
Yeah, down your way, exactly. Now you're around Southeast Guilford now, correct, still? Yeah. This almost seems like unsacred, really, because of Grimsley, man, hanging down around Southeast Guilford. Yeah, down around the Falcons territory.
You know, it was a long time before anybody even really knew who I was athletically out there at church or anything.
Do you go to the track and do any exercise down there? Do I walk the track at Southeast? Use that for a workout spot?
We've got a ball field at our church. And I can hear the band from Southeast. That's how close we are to the school. But we've got a ball field right at the corner of Methodist and Woody Mill Road, which is
that kind of near the shopping center too? That area right there.
Yeah. If you want to call it a shopping center,
Where the food line is,
exactly.
Yeah, that's good stuff. Because I've seen that track up there. I guess a little walking area around that field there a couple of times.
I know. We've got to give Southeast their props, because First Sergeant Hilliard has the color guard for all our summer games.
Well, let me give you another name too. Coach Hilliard was Mr. Hilliard there, but also give you the name too, a guy who is probably.
Not Mr. First Sergeant. First Sergeant.
Absolutely. I guess salute there. But thinking about Southeast representation, and Reid mentioned Reggie Peace kind of behind the scenes, doing the work. But a guy from Southeast, I mentioned one, you got to mention the other two, but Mark White.
Mark and Ray Davis.
I was going to say, you got to mention, they got two big Ray Davis, yeah.
Mark used to coordinate our athletic trainers for us, which is no small job.
No.
And then Ray has taken that over from him lately. But they're both going to work the basketball game.
Yeah, you got two former Southeast guys, and maybe one still current, working the game at the same time. I guess working both teams. That's pretty good.
Well, one does men, one does women, and then in the games they each take a team.
Right. Well, you mentioned injuries earlier about these kids dropping out due to injuries. I see about the injury that Caitlin Clark has. You just make one wrong turn, you got a groin pull. So this day and time, these injuries pop up in some very strange ways.
Yeah, see, I don't know. Back in my day, nobody got hurt, it seemed. I mean, I guess they did, but the more kids develop, it seems like they get more fragile in some degree.
Yeah.
But we get a ton of soccer kids hurt. It's just incredible.
You've had some good soccer games, had some good basketball games. Over the years, the media coverage, because you said you had a TV interview earlier today, TV station came in. Going back to some of the old media folk you remember over the years that covered these games, I mean, just kind of think about those. Going back, probably one thing that pops out to my mind, probably back in the early days, would be Smith Barrier, but there's probably others, a lot of older.
Smith Barrier started the thing with Coach Jameson, so you got to give him credit to start with.
Yeah.
And then, of course, you had Woody Durham at Channel 2, and, High Point.
Charlie Harville?
Charlie Harville, thank you.
Yeah, if you don't mention Charlie would come back and grab you, because Charlie was tough.
We had all these kids at Grimsley, so we knew him well.
Oh, yeah.
Rich Brenner, that was...
he was fantastic.
At the banquet. And
Mike Hogwood.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. They were both MCs at the banquet before... Channel 8.
Danny Harden
does it now.
We've had Danny Harden and Kevin Conley in modern days. They covered it very well for you.
Yeah, Kevin doesn't do our banquet, but we certainly appreciate what he does. And
Yeah.
we were just talking about Timmy Hawks, who's been
behind the scenes.
filming
My
at
gosh.
Channel 8 for 4 centuries, I think.
Yeah, and you got a guy like Brian Hall from WFNY TV
Brian
too.
Hall's really come in and done a good job. You see his stuff all over the place.
Yeah.
Both of them will be at practice on Saturday.
Yeah.
They're gonna be-
They've already reached out.
They've already
They're-
reached
they're-
out
they're
too.
gonna
That's
be there
good.
for-
Brian
they're gonna
Hall
be
and
there
Timmy
for the
Hawks are very
practices
good
on
there.
Saturday.
Good stuff.
Yeah, is there a resurgence of interest in high school sports? Because we had Channel 2 in here interviewing Joe and Reid this morning, and we haven't had anything TV-wise in a long time other than Channel 8 filming the games, Channel 2.
I guess maybe there is some kind of resurgence going on possibly right now because maybe there's not as much to cover for them as some things are dropping off that to cover forward and they're starting to fill in with more high school stuff.
Well, if you didn't have Caitlin Clark, nobody would cover the WNBA.
Right.
People are tired of the NBA.
I sure hope she plays in the All-Star game because it's probably not worth watching. She's not in it. Well, she's probably not going to play there. But back to the media people. What about going back to my guy back years ago? He wasn't here long in town, but he covered that football that one year. Also, Tony Barnhart.
Tony was great because Tony would read you your quotes and say, "Is this what you meant to say?"
Wow.
And I always appreciated that because sometimes I'll say something that didn't come out the way I wanted it to.
Yeah.
Yeah, all the guys for that preceded Bryant Roach at the News and Record have been really good to us. I mean, there's so many. I wouldn't want to try to name
Jeff
them.
Carlton.
Yeah, Jeff was a good one.
Ton
Sure
of
was.
Ton of them.
Michael Lindsay does a great job with
Oh, at High Point. Michael Lindsay, the other guy behind the scenes, so he just kind of goes unnoticed. That
does a great
guy's
job with High Point
legacy guy.
Enterprise.
Yeah.
Very thankful for those guys.
But you know, John Dell, who's now with the Winston-Salem Journal, he used to be at Eden Moorhead, and he covers every year. I mean, he's been around a long time.
Yeah. Well, Tony Barnhart at that time with the football thing, I'll never forget. I used to love to read the articles about East-West All-Stars because you'd see some guys you knew who grew up with or followed. They get a chance to play in the game. But Barnhart at that time, that one year, he put the football equipment on and practiced with the team. He dressed out in football gear.
remember that.
That was a good story. He had a picture of it in the paper in the News and Record. He put the helmet on, the pads, and I'm going to find out what this football is. I'm going to go out and practice with the team. So he went through some practices with the guys, which was pretty
Couldn't
good.
do that today. He'd sue us for getting hurt. That's pretty good. He went on to big things, didn't he?
He certainly did. He certainly did. At Southeastern Conference and all those schools he's covered there around Atlanta, Georgia.
Now, as long as the newspapers were really going strong, we had good coverage. And now that they've lost readership, you know,
I think that's another thing, because you brought up a good point. We're going to close this out in just a few minutes. You were just talking off the top of our heads. Good point about the the TV stations coming back over now, covering it more. But the newspapers in the same boat too, because they have limited print time, limited space, and now they do more features.
Right.
So with Bryant Roche, first time I met Bryant, I called him Bryant Roach because the only name I ever knew that name. There's only one name to me, John Roach. That's the South Carolina basketball. That guy's sacred basketball, But anyway. And it says Roche. But anyway, Bryant covered that stuff. He does a lot of good stories now.
He does.
Personal stuff, feature stuff. He does a very good job with it. So that's the kind of direction I think they've had to go these days.
He works really hard.
He
does.
He works really hard.
So you guys are happy about the way things are right now. What could be going better for you right now? Anything could be going better?
Well, they're calling for rain on Tuesday, I think. We don't need that.
Yeah, especially since it's perfect outside right now.
Yeah, the only bad thing is if we have to delay soccer, then we got to cut the playing time down.
Right.
Because you don't want to cheat the guys, or you don't want the guys finishing at midnight either. So I don't know. I'm sure you were around in '92 when Jeff Smouse coached, and we delayed the football game for 2 hours and we didn't finish till 11:30 with running clocks, and that was pretty bad.
It's a big team. It's just a collaborative effort, group effort, trying to make things work around here. But I'd be remiss if I didn't mention Malia Jones. Malia Jones is our office manager, and she makes everything go here in the office. So she certainly a big part of what we do.
So
dirty paperwork.
I guess a good thing too, the fact you've had a lot of the same people working together over the years. There's not been a lot of turnover, I guess, in the office. That's new people coming in, but you see Joe Franks, Reid Holmes, see Phil Weaver, you see Mac Morris, a lot of the same faces when you come in. So having that same repetitive group of people working together is all the cumulative effort, as they say, has been a good thing too, I know.
Well, the 3 game coordinators, certainly there's been some consistency with them. We've already mentioned Reggie Peace with the basketball, and then Hurt DeGraw is our soccer coordinator, and then Clayton Nance is our football coordinator.
That's another guy behind the scenes that's really active.
And those 3 are certainly vital to what we do.
And Hurt was with me when we started soccer. I mean, he's been every minute.
Yeah.
And then you've been with us how long?
This is my 10th summer.
Amazing.
And before 10 summers, I was the site person at Southwest.
Yeah.
10 summers in the office.
And Clayton Nance, think about a guy like that, a guy goes from Page to Grimsley, to make that transition alone is a big thing.
Clayton's been here almost 30, because we gave him a 20-year award a long time ago.
Yeah.
And then we brought we got Darren Corbett hired for this summer. See if he likes it, and if he does, we'll work something out maybe to get him on. Joe Franks is retiring in 27.
Wow.
He's already announced it, so that's nothing that ain't public. And then of course Mac and I are winding down. I'm trying to give more and more over to Reid, and he will eventually become, we hope, the sole executive director. It's just, if Mac and I disagreed on something, well, what do? It's a 1-to-1 vote.
Yeah.
So what do? So nothing got done. So at least one guy can decide something. When you need a decision, one guy is better than 2. But Mac and I made it work pretty well, I think. We've done all right.
And you've been running the East-West All-Star football, basketball, soccer, plus you also do that event you mentioned too, the All-Star game.
Carolina's Classic.
Yeah, that's another one you do as well.
Against South Carolina.
Those are the 4 main events, I guess.
Yeah. And believe it or not, that was proposed by the South Carolina executive director, Keith Richardson, who was a football coach.
Wow.
He said, we play football, why don't we play basketball? You're a basketball coach.
Yeah.
I said, well, we'd love to do that. And so we did it.
Had you ever done any other All-Star games? I know some other groups do some lacrosse. They do some other things. Did any others?
Oh, there's a ton of them out there. The problem is you got to figure out who's trying to make money and who's trying to do a real event.
Right, yeah.
We did baseball, but it turned out so many people they had Legion playoffs or, we just lost too many kids at the end, and there just wasn't much point. The individual sports, there's no reason to do that. You do that when you play your state championship. You got the best golfer in 4A. There's no point in bringing 4 golfers together, I don't think, for an all-star golf event. Plus, it's so expensive, Andy.
Yeah.
Football, well, we cut a day out. It probably still runs us around $100,000 put on a football game.
Just to put the game on.
And then basketball and soccer probably going to be 25 to 30 each.
And it was I'll use the old phrase, the old Herculean task. When you added soccer, that was a big thing within itself, just adding that.
It was.
1992?
92. It just seemed like the right time, and we had 3 years of money up front. What we didn't calculate probably as well as how much it was going to cost when that money wasn't there anymore. Because we certainly need a bigger crowd to justify soccer finances, but the clinic carries us. The games were started to finance the clinic.
Right.
I mean, that was the purpose of having the All-Star football.
And now you
can see the picture right out here on the hall back in the 70s, and there's coats and ties, and the stands are full at the end because that's where the picture's taken. I mean, they had 10,000 people every time.
That was it, yeah.
And even at $1 a game, that paid for the clinic and everything. And now the clinic by far carries the weight of the finances. But we are one of the cheapest clinics in the country.
Yeah, it's still very affordable.
And we don't charge a membership fee.
That makes a difference too.
But you have to come to clinic to be a member.
Right.
Which is one of the smartest things we did.
Reid, quick closing question for you here. Now, if you had the soccer and they had to shorten the game because of maybe other elements you could not control without under your control, had to shorten the game, maybe had to go to like a shootout or something like that. Is that a good way to end something like that?
I think so with the soccer. You might want to ask Herc.
What about
Herc's more of a soccer person than I am.
I'm the soccer man in this crowd.
Oh, yeah.
No, ties is fantastic in soccer.
Is it? Wow.
Well, if you go to shootout, that's another 20, 30 minutes. At the end of the girls' game, that pushes the guys back to 11:30 finish sometime or whatever.
Yeah.
Plus, soccer people are used to ties.
Exactly.
It's not American to have a tie.
Yeah.
But
yeah. Soccer
people, they're tied.
Oh, I've heard. I've seen,
they get a point for a tie.
When the U.S. wins one of these national soccer games, they relish the tie. We're advancing because we tied somebody.
Exactly.
We're moving on to the next round.
You're asking a baseball guy.
That's what I'm asking. Because here's
like a home run derby to determine.
Here's the you read my mind. The question I was leading up to the whole time was, what about what they did the All-Star game? They closed it out with like another home run derby. How about closing the game? Is that a good way to close the game?
I enjoyed it.
You did.
I certainly enjoyed it. In the home run derby, certainly they were concerned about pitching. Those organizations certainly don't want their starters and their stars going out there pitching any more than they should in an all-star game. So I didn't mind the ending of that at all.
Good way to close it out.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but see, soccer's going to play 10 minutes of overtime first.
Yeah.
And then turn around and do 10 more minutes of overtime before they do the shootout. And we don't have time for that.
You got a little break in between there too, because you can't go right to it. You got a little rest in there before you start back. So there's all kinds of elements.
In this heat, we got a rule that each kid's got to play X amount of time in football and basketball. We dropped that in soccer because there was no need. They were happy to be substituted for it.
Yeah. Well, what about this thing here they do in games sometimes? You got to close this out. It's a good discussion, but as you're coaching and you got some soccer coaching in your blood too. What if you're coaching and these extra timeouts they add just to give the players a chance to get some water? Is that good to add extra timeouts during a game like that?
Yes, we do.
Yeah, that's a
we
good
take
thing to
we
do.
take water breaks. Yeah.
Extra breaks because of the weather.
Well, you only got 16 boys and girls, so with 11 of them on the field at the time, you only got 5 subs. So if you sub 5 and 5. By the end of that second substitution rotation, there's some people tired out there. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, we definitely do that, depending on the heat. And the athletic trainers make that call. So
going back to basketball, when you coached here, now your daughter Stacy played here, right?
Yep.
Did she play in the East-West All-Star basketball, or did she play in the soccer? Did she get to play in one of the All-Star games?
She tore her ACL in the conference her senior year, and she was selected by that great coach Ford out at Western Guilford. Even though she knew Stacy would decline, she did it just as an honor to Stacy. I guess. Ginger Ford, who is not Ford anymore. But yeah, she picked Stacy, and for basketball, of course, she had to decline, and then soccer, they didn't pick her because they knew she couldn't play.
Right, because of the injury.
But her daughter just got named. I got to brag on my granddaughter.
Yeah.
Not MVP, but all-tournament team in one of those national softball things. She's 14. She's going to be a player.
You've had a chance to watch her play in person a few times?
Absolutely. Plus, you can get her streaming now.
Yeah. Any extra coaching you could do in a game like that? Help coaching?
Hands off.
Yeah. Because you were the softball coach here years ago, right?
I coached softball for 22 years.
Highly successful, from what I remember, too.
We won 1 state championship, 4 conference.
Wow, that's not bad.
For inner city school, that's not bad.
Let's get a state championship in any sports. Very good, sir. Yeah. Coach Weaver, thank you for your time as always.
Thank you,
Appreciate it. And again, 6:30 for the women on Monday, and the men will follow about a half hour after.
20 minutes maybe. Yeah.
And then the soccer is going to be coming up what time again?
6:30 for girls. 8:30 boys start.
Gotcha. And no overtimes, like you said, right?
No overtimes.
Gotcha. Reid Holmes, good to talk to you, too.
Thank you, Andy. Appreciate all that you do.
Always think about Jim Holmes, your dad, back in the day, one of the most gracious referees we've ever seen.
Good word. That's a good word.
Yeah, very gracious.
Yes.
Kind of different personality than some of these guys. Some guys, they look at you, they wouldn't even give you any response. Your dad always helped any kid he could. And he and Mr. Hadley, I guess Hadley was around the very good men for the West Guilford area back in the day.
Absolutely. And Mr. Hadley's son, Darren, was our trainer at Southwest for a while.
Well, you can't beat that.
Yeah, he was.
A lot of good connections. Gentlemen, have a great week and keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Same to you.
Thank you.